It was a 3-month campaign. It seemed a lot longer at the time. I was appointed as the Chief of Staff to the Tri-Service Commander. When we got down there, this actually involved working 8 hours on, 8 hours off with another captain, and we supervised the day-to-day running of the war. It was a very challenging 3 months, professionally, extremely hard work with very little sleep.
All my family were in the Navy. There were 6 men all over the world. When the Second War started, I had been in Hong Kong. My husband was in the Navy out there. He realized what was happening, and as I was pregnant, he sent me home. That was the last I saw of him for a year and a half. Queen Elizabeth gave a talk to the women of the country. If the men didn't have homes to come back to, which were working really well, then what they were fighting for didn't have any meaning. And I felt she understood. I felt anointed at that moment.
Whilst I was in Egypt, we went to Palestine. I was at an outpost at a school, about 5 or 6 of us. And every morning we used to go to a high point so that the signalers using heliograph could signal to the regiment what was going on and if everything was okay. Because it was Saturday morning, the officer said he'd take his men, and they went up to this point where I turned my truck around. And while he was turning the truck around, there was a landmine laid during the night and they were all killed. Now, why was I less saved from that, been doing it every day, every morning, to think that I was saved from that?
We were firing shells that weigh 100 pounds in weight with a killing radius of 200 metres. We were told to speed up our rate of fire because they were surrendering too quickly. Not being a Christian in the war, using hate was very easy to me. To do the killing, you had to tap into a level of hate, which you don't realise the impact it has on you. Sometimes some of the images, the sounds, and the emotions, I would say probably that peaked about 3 years later for me.
The waves were so high and a huge amount of thunder-like noises from the crashing of the waves, and that very much reminded me of the hymn How Great Thou Art, when it talks about the mighty thunder. In my mind, going through those words and then thinking, despite all that's going on, God is great.
I went down to the village hall where we ran a canteen for the soldiers. But then the difficulty was I had to walk home through the dark, and I was terrified of the dark. So I found that singing in the dark was something which was really helpful. Lead kindly light amid the encircling gloom. The night is dark and I am far from home. I certainly knew that, but the Lord was so gracious. The night after night he would walk me home. And I think it is in taking that decision that you will not go down the path of self-pity or fear, where faith begins to grow. God is very gracious.
I discovered God about 8 years later, and for me, that brought freedom. Take my will and make it thine. As an army man, you'd be holding onto your weapon, or your pride particularly, but once you let go of it, I found a lot of other things fell off.
Our eyes are closed to the gospel in this day and age regrettably, but it wasn't to me, because I was a Christian. And how sweet the name of Jesus sounds. It's wonderful, the sacrifices that he made for me on the cross. Nothing compared with what I suffered.